Well, hello to everybody here. It's Teresa Sanderson. As always, so excited to connect with you. And today I'm connecting with you on our Dare to Do Nursing Differently podcast. And we have a wonderful guest with us today. Her name is Beth Tansey Peller. And I'm really excited to have Beth here. She's a representative of WellCoaches. And Beth, I just really want to welcome you to the call today. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk with you.
Awesome. And so am I. So, for those of you who don't know Beth, she has worked, in her career as nursing. She started out in general pediatrics and working in pediatric and adult hematology and oncology. So, we've talked about her nursing career, and it has been many and varied from the employee setting to working in aesthetics, medical advertising, being a creative director. She's just got lots of great different experience. And she has, aligned herself with an organization called WellCoaches. And WellCoaches, if you just do a quick search of them on the internet, they have a community of 15,000 coaches around the world. And they've been in the business for 20 plus years. So it's a wonderful organization. And so as we talk with Beth today, we're going to be talking about her journey from nursing into the coaching space. And again, Beth, I just want to welcome you here and thank you for sharing time with us today.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to talk with you and tell you a bit about me, about WellCoaches, and opportunities for nurses to do nursing differently as a coach.
I love it. I love it. And so, tell us a little bit about, your history as a nurse, kind of how you got started. And, we've mentioned a couple of the different types of work that you've done, but as you shifted from one to the next, how did that transition happen for you and that kind of thing?
Okay. Well, it goes way back. I actually went to nursing school in 1981. I had graduated from high school, went to college. I had a car accident. I had mono, I had my tonsils out, I had my nose reconstructed, and I'm getting tired of going to school. And I said, I need to find something where I can work. So I went
Yeah,
to a hospital school of nursing and got my diploma.
love
And
it.
then I went back to school and finished my degree in psychology and worked. After that, I got talked into working in the city at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and
Got it.
I worked in pediatric oncology. Also became a work staff, and then also gave chemo. It was a very intense, amazing learning
I
experience.
bet.
Yeah, and then somebody I used to work with reached out to me to work in an adult hematology oncology office where they needed somebody to give chemo, and I did that. And then somebody reached out to me and suggested I work as a clinical research associate.
Oh,
And
wow.
I took that position, but my nursing skills and knowledge were valuable there. I
Love
mean,
that.
it was a shift into burn wound coverings. Did that for a bit, and then I had my daughter. So I was looking for ways to work and raise my child. And I started writing because I loved writing. I did writing for Huffman LaRoche and,
Okay.
freelance writing. They were very close to where I lived. Did that for several years. Then we wanted to buy a new house. So I took a position working as a nurse,
Uh-huh.
4-hour shifts after my daughter was born. And that was hematology oncology again. Got into the medical writing again and worked at a place where we actually worked on the Merck Manual Home Edition, the first one, which was really cool.
Oh,
What a
wow.
team project. So I used
Yeah.
that, my nursing and my writing skills, got recruited into medical advertising, had no idea what I was getting into. I heard they love nurses. And I used my oncology background there as a writer and ended up becoming a creative director over about 10 years. So I started out working on oncology products and then got into substance abuse with Suboxone, which was fascinating. And I
Wow.
always used my nursing knowledge there, but I burned out on it. But in the meantime, I kind of skipped over because in 2004, I was really missing working with people directly. And I
Ah.
found WellCoaches online. So I
Oh.
enrolled, did that in my spare time, finished, got certified in 2005. And when I was working in medical advertising, I applied for, I put together a proposal and won an award called the Odysseus Award, which was for somebody making
Wow.
a professional or personal journey. And for me, it was both. So I actually was able to go to the Art and Science of Health Promotion meeting in San Francisco, and I met Margaret Moore, the CEO of WellCoaches there.
Oh my
And we,
gosh.
had dinner every night, and we put our heads together and had all sorts of ideas, and it was great fun. And I ended up leaving medical advertising because I ended up with fibromyalgia. It was a very
Oh goodness.
demanding situation, long hours and deadlines and so on. At
Sure.
that time, actually, Margaret asked me to do practical skills assessments for current students, taking the same training I had done. And
Got
then
it.
later on, I did the advanced training and I was asked to become a mentor coach, one of my favorite things to do.
Wow.
And I finally found a way to get a job as an RN. My daughter called me the school nurse for big people because I was working in a
I
corporate
love
wellness
it.
setting. So I was school nurse for big people, doing strep tests and all that kind of stuff, headaches,
Sure.
whatever. And then health educator, health coach. And when I did that, I actually put together 5 CE classes for the coaching team.
Love
And
it.
I know you love that.
I do.
Yeah, and I did a healthy weight management course, and I coached a lot of people, and that was my favorite part of the job. But I
Mm-hmm.
was meeting with people as a nurse and then would talk with them about, they didn't like to step on the scale. Their blood pressure was bothering. They were stressed, did all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got tired of the commute. I was a 3.5 hour day, 3.5 hours a day.
Yep.
Found a job, what I thought was my dream job, Center for Integrative Medicine, holistic care coordinator. Got it all set up, and then they decided to have the business manager take over. I
Oh,
was out of
wow.
but I found another job in medical aesthetics, working with a doctor whose practical skills assessment I had done in 2008, and he was local.
Incredible.
So I did that for about 5 years. And in the meantime, I got more involved with WellCoaches. I
Mm-hmm.
always attended the Institute of Coaching meeting, did CE with WellCoaches, kept my skills
Wow.
up. I had private clients as well. And, it was a way to put together everything I loved about nursing, about coaching, helping people, using
Yeah.
my experiences, my empathy, and other skills. I even wrote an ebook for students called Going from Beginner to Brilliant, a practical guide to passing your practical, which is
Oh,
actually in
wow.
revisions now. I'm going to update it and get that out soon.
Incredible.
Yeah, I've got to work on that. And
Wow.
just a couple of years ago, after 5 years working medical aesthetics, I ended up having neck surgery. And
Oh, boy.
so I wasn't able to do the procedures. I retired from that, and WellCoaches came through for me again and hired me to take on this role, talking with potential students about the training. So I
Oh,
do,
my goodness.
yeah. So it's really my nursing has come through and has evolved as a combination of all of this.
What I love, there are a few common threads in your story. And so, first of all, thank you for sharing that beautiful bio because I think it should inspire any and every nurse, especially new nurses who are out there wondering, what can I do? I think more the question is, what can you not do as a nurse today? What
Agreed.
can you not do?
Yes.
And I love that also interwoven in your story are, because my audience is primarily nurse entrepreneurs. But what
Hmm.
I hear in your story is this interweaving of intrapreneurial opportunities and creating opportunities within organizations you worked for to do the kind of work that you wanted to do. And that is an incredible space to be in, right? And then
Mm.
landing with WellCoaches again after having been with them for quite a while already and having them say, welcome, come on in, we'd love to have you. That is just incredible. So I think a lot of that speaks to both the passion and purpose that you've had in your life to do nursing in a way that would work for you.
Yes. And, I love that you said intrapreneurial because I'd not heard of that before, but that's exactly what I was doing. I was
Yeah.
looking for ways to use what I knew in coaching and nursing and put it together. And, I wasn't able, I actually did try to start a practice in 2008, but it
Hmm.
was too soon.
Yeah.
The world wasn't ready for it and it
Hmm.
didn't work. But that's
Hmm.
okay because I learned a lot by
Yeah.
doing that. And now I do have private clients in addition
Hmm.
to my part-time work with WellCoaches. And I love it because I can choose how many clients. I actually am also the virtual coach for a wellness retreat that I went
Wow.
to myself. And, people need help to make changes. And that's what
Hmm.
coaching is about. As
Yeah.
nurses, we often tell people what they need to do
Hmm.
in order to be healthier, but people don't always do those things. When we take
Hmm.
a coaching approach to a conversation with them, we access their internal motivation, we respect their autonomy, and we help them to find their own way. And
I
it's
love that.
so satisfying.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think, you're hitting on another thing that I just so love, which is treating each person as an individual and recognizing their unique gifts, talents, strengths, weaknesses, and even their personality characteristics
Hmm.
that, allow them to, how they see the world is affected by all of these things and how they interact with the world. And so I love that coaching gives the opportunity to work from that vantage point, of seeing it's all important. We've always said that in nursing as holistic, right?
Hmm.
It's all important, but many times we miss the mark in how we communicate.
Absolutely. And coaching is a different way of having a conversation.
Hmm.
And what we find is that people become transformed by the Well Coaches training, our health and well-being coach training. It's our core program.
Love that.
Find that it changes the way they parent, the way they have conversations with children, the way that they have conversations with coworkers. They can
Hmm.
actually listen more deeply and respond in a way that is potentially more collaborative and
Hmm.
actually, speaks to what you're talking about. Nurses feed your young,
Yes.
and instead of making it difficult for newer nurses, listen,
Hmm.
and the empathy we all have can
Hmm.
be used in a different way. So coaching doesn't have to be just with clients or patients. Coaching can be used as, who we are.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And as you say that, I mean, I'm envisioning there's opportunities for nursing leadership. When you think about it, we always call it the nursing team, right? Well, the team needs a
Yes.
coach. The team needs a coach, and the leader is the coach. But
Right.
also within us, I know that in my own personal opinion, every nurse is a leader. You take that
Yes.
role. I mean, we're leading our patients from point A to point
Mm.
B. And so we're also a leader. And so when we develop our inner self, to show up as the best version of ourselves, it's a beautiful place to be, number one, but also
Mhm.
the outcomes change. Patient outcomes change. Our personal interactions and
Yes.
those outcomes change.
Mm.
All of it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
and to think about it, we're all leaders of ourselves. And that's what
Hmm.
coaching can do. It really empowers us to be our best selves and to
Hmm.
really be mindful about what we want,
Right.
decisions we're making, where we're headed.
Hmm.
That's one of the beautiful things about coaching is that it's just a different perspective and
Hmm.
helps us to really be that entrepreneurial person, even
Yep.
at work when we're working full
Right.
time. Not
Hmm.
everybody is in a situation to be a full-time entrepreneur, but you
Right.
can use those skills and feel like an entrepreneur. You
Right. And
shaping
create.
yourself
Yeah.
at work.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you are such a great example of that, in all of your time as a nurse, as you have, kind of bobbed and weaved from one opportunity to another. It has been purposeful. And I love seeing that,
Mm.
um, because I feel like all too often nurses feel compelled to take whatever is next, and without being thoughtful of the lifestyle that we want, it can come down to what are the bullet points? Okay, what's the sign-on bonus? What's the hourly rate? How much PTO do I get? When those things, if they come at the sacrifice of your own personal wellness,
Oh,
they're worth nothing. They're worth nothing,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and work well-being is so important, and we're seeing more and more people suffering because
Yeah.
they're not being mindful enough, and they're in situations where work is difficult and
Hmm.
challenging and takes a lot of energy out of us.
Yeah.
So finding a way to, even in a situation where, maybe you don't feel you have a choice, maybe you need to make a certain income or be in a certain situation, at least until you can change that, you
Hmm.
can still find ways to fit you into your life. You
Oh,
can coach yourself, even if you
yeah.
don't have a coach. You can use the skills to help yourself.
Exactly, exactly. I just love that. So I want to transition just a little bit because, like you said, years ago, nurse coaching wasn't a thing, right? People didn't really recognize it, didn't understand it. And now it's become quite, I don't want to say trendy, but it is big enough now that nurse entrepreneurs know about it. A lot of bedside nurses know about it. And I understand there are even some big changes that are pending at the CMS and Medicare level related to nurse coaching. And I think when we talked about that last, it's still kind of being formed, but I
Mhm.
would love for you to share some information about that with our audience because this just says that nurse coaching is all grown up. And this is a
Yes,
huge opportunity right now.
yes, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of nurses who take our training as well as other people, but to be able to find, have that credibility as a coach is one thing that Margaret Moore, our CEO, was working toward for since the beginning, more than 20 years ago, and
Hmm.
as well to establish the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaching. So this is a huge effort to have codes that are reimbursable by insurance for coaching services.
That's
Now,
incredible.
nurses are really positioned well for this because the majority of these will be within a healthcare system. Coaches I will not be able to get reimbursed directly as a
Sure.
coach.
Hmm.
But if I'm working for a healthcare system that is using these codes, I can be hired by them
Hmm.
and they will bill for my time and therefore be able to support paying me. So there
Hmm.
will be more and more opportunities as time goes on. As of, there are some codes that can be used for telehealth and coaches can use those. There are other codes that were just approved on a temporary basis by Medicare. So we do need to show outcomes for
Hmm.
those. But once those are approved on a permanent basis, what typically happens is that private insurers follow suit. So there will be more,
Big stuff.
these opportunities are only growing, and nurses are really perfectly positioned to be able to work within a healthcare system as a coach. So
I love that.
yeah, and the WellCoaches certification is actually highly regarded and sought after. We have a whole
Hmm.
job board of positions from all over the internet that are collected by someone on our staff who
Wow.
finds these where they specifically state WellCoaches certification, desired, preferred, required, complete within a year of employment and such. So
Wow.
it's exciting for healthcare professionals, especially, and other people who do choose to take our coaching training. But this is a real way to use your nursing knowledge in a way that helps people make those changes,
Hmm.
empowers them, and helps you feel good about it.
Right. Right. And I think that's what's missing for nurses. I know for me, I've gone in and out of bedside nursing over the last 33 years. And sometimes when I would become frustrated with my role in leadership, I would just take a bedside role.
Mm,
Or even when I owned the hospice, if I needed to reconnect with my mission, I would go out and see patients for a week or two
hmm
because that's where the difference happens, isn't it? It's patient by patient, one at a time.
hmm
And so when I need to reconnect with that passion, it's definitely at the bedside. But what's missing, I've done some travel nursing in the last 5, 6 years. And what's missing at the bedside, in my opinion, is the time. to
Mm,
have to make an impact, to listen to a patient, to tend to their needs, to really have time to educate them. And so I see beautiful opportunities for nurses who want that kind of connection with a patient and who want to be able to see them through from point A to point B. This is a perfect
absolutely.
vehicle for that.
Yes. And there are, so many positions available with insurance companies, healthcare systems, even apps where, people just, not, some people love doing it,
Yeah.
just digitally connecting with people, all about the
Mm-hmm.
questions you ask, the reflections, the affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
curiosity that you can use to help someone, fulfill the vision they create for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there, for people, for nurses who want to do this, there are remote positions available, on-site positions available, chronic care, chronic health coaching, which is going to be huge. And so many opportunities to feel like you're making a positive impact in someone's life who maybe didn't feel confident enough that they
Mm-hmm.
could start a walking program or lose a few pounds or eat differently or manage their stress, sleep better. We,
Mm-hmm.
really look at this holistically. What does this whole person need? And that's a nursing
Yes,
assessment.
it is. Yes, it is.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, I just love that. I love that. So, I'm thinking of the coaching opportunity again. I work with a lot of nurse entrepreneurs, and I know I'm going off the beaten path of our questions here, so bear with me. Um, but the question on my mind is, it appears that nurse coaching may also be a great add-on type business, perhaps, or service for chronic care managers, possibly even concierge nurses.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, I want to be
Yeah, we
sure I
have
was
a
understanding.
Yeah, we have a lot of nurses who take our training who are working in chronic care, working with diabetes patients, patients with heart disease, all kinds of situations because they're having conversations every day about that person's health and
Mm-hmm.
their patient's health and it helps them create a conversation in a way that helps the person move forward and
Love
make
that.
change. And it
Mm-hmm.
just adds to the skill set. And not you mentioned the time. Sometimes time is limited. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to have a full coaching session with every person. It's a
Right.
matter of the coaching questions you're asking and the way that you're listening to that person and responding and creating that trust and rapport, using your empathy that helps that person feel valued, heard, and then they start to build their confidence and their sense of self-efficacy, which is, we help them through that
I
so
love
that they
that.
can get where they want to go. Yeah, so nurses from all areas take our coaching training at WellCoaches and use it in the ways that help them. And we have nurses who continue to work at the bedside and
Mhm.
create a business on the side. And
Love that.
our continuing education helps them, our membership helps them to meet the requirements for recertification and to perhaps build a business because we have business building, continuing education offerings, as well as uh, skills building, coaching skills development, so
Love
that
that.
they can continue to grow. We even
Yeah.
have some premium classes, coaching for mental well-being, which is huge right now. There's a
Yeah.
gap, not enough therapists to meet the
Mm-hmm.
and coaches and nurses, especially with our holistic understanding of a person,
Mm-hmm.
are really positioned well to be able to specialize in something like that.
Mm-hmm. This is very, very exciting. And so I want to ask you, Beth, what is one piece of advice that you would share with any nurse or perhaps even an aspiring nurse entrepreneur? This is a nurse that you and I have both seen who is maybe working a job and feeling like, I wish there was more. I wish there was more to it. I wish I could work at something and really be present when I go home for my family. I wish that I could help people in a different way. I wish I could use my skills in a different way.
Mhm.
But what's the one piece of advice you would share with a nurse in that position about maybe a good next step to take?
Yeah. Well, of course, I would say embrace the coaching skills and take some training, but continue to learn, continue to grow your skills. We're lifelong learners at WellCoaches. And one of the reasons Margaret Moore wanted a membership and a recertification was so that the students would continue to grow, and also it meets the standard of someone in
Mm-hmm.
a medical or a healthcare profession who's
Mm-hmm.
licensed has to renew their license. We renew our credentials every 3 years. So, keep learning, keep doing that, expand your horizons as a coach. You never, we tell people, you never know where you're going to end up with this. We have people start the training thinking they're going to do something else, and they take a 90-degree, 180-degree turn.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know. We find that
Sure.
people take the training and they find it transformative. So keep an open mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, just the process of getting the training can help the individual so much. And
Oh,
that's the beauty in it, right? Is that I'm
mhm.
learning this to serve someone else, but somehow I'm
We
experiencing the change.
absolutely, we find that is so true.
I love
And
that.
that, people come out with a greater sense of calm, greater sense of confidence in themselves, a sense of having more ability to communicate in a different way. And it's exciting. I
It's
am
wonderful.
fortunate because I get to see people in module 3 for mentoring sessions. We include 3 private 1-hour mentoring sessions. I hear all the time how people are using the skills in different ways. I oh,
Wow.
I use them with my kids, my friends, at work, with patients. And a lot of nurses choose to mentor with me because I am a nurse and they feel
Hmm.
some affinity. And it really is heartwarming for me to hear how they're feeling happier at work and
I
able
love that.
to incorporate these, even if they're not entrepreneurial, they're
Exactly.
intrapreneurial.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that leads to another just an important
Excuse me.
point that I would like to share is that, I never encourage anyone entering nurse entrepreneurship to just cut the strings of your current income and step into the space because that's a huge stressor, number one, unless you're totally
Absolutely.
prepared for it. But so many people, so many nurse entrepreneurs are just like me and started while working under that safety net of a paycheck. And what I always say is even if you only have 15 minutes a day, be
Mhm.
consistent. Use that 15 minutes every day and do something you're going to be thanking yourself for a year from now. Um,
Yes,
and you
absolutely.
did the
That's
same thing, along the way, just kind of learned and got started.
right.
And yeah,
Yeah, and I kind of made that mistake in a way. I quit my full-time medical advertising position and I thought, okay, I will work as a freelance medical writer.
sure.
It makes some base income and I'll build my practice. Well, it turns out I had to work so much as a freelance medical writer, and I ended up for a year going back to it because I thought working so much, I might as well get the benefits. So
Ah,
that was back in 2008. I would approach
mhm.
things differently now. It's a learning
Sure,
experience, but I often
sure.
recommend, if you're looking to make a move into coaching, maybe you'll be able to get a full-time job right away, and we that would be wonderful. But if not, stick with what you're doing. Maybe cut your hours or take on a part-time
Hmm.
virtual position so that you can build your skills, get that
Hmm.
experience, and move forward with what
Hmm.
it is you choose to do. And if it is a full-time position, great. If it's building a business, totally support that as well.
Exactly. I
Mm.
love that. I love that. And I think, for entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, nurses in general, we need to all know and understand there is no right way to do this. There is no wrong way. There's only your way, the way
Mhm.
that's going to work for you. And,
Absolutely.
we're all individual creatures, and this is where that beautiful holistic philosophy of nursing comes in. My solution won't work for you all the time. What I
That's
did won't work for everybody, and
right.
that's okay.
Totally okay. And
Yeah.
a lot of the people I talk to have passions about particular things that
Yes.
they want to pursue. It could be about physical health, it could be burnout. We actually have studies. We have one already published and another in press on
Mm-hmm.
in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So they may want to work with colleagues around that. Some of them are just former athletes, they take that route. We're
Hmm.
actually going to be offering a diabetes prevention program, um,
Incredible.
coaching for that as a premium class for our certified coaches.
Love
There's
that.
so much need. And if you have a
Yeah.
passion for something, you can create a coaching business around it.
Mm. I love that. I love that. And so I want to just I want to share with this group how excited I am that Nurses Feed Their Young and Well Coaches are now in partnership to provide more resources for nurse entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, and nurses who are either wanting to start businesses in nurse coaching or find those entrepreneurial opportunities
Mhm.
and even opportunities to grow themselves. So I want to thank you, Beth, for connecting with me and putting this opportunity together because I believe that when, like as you said, when people are passionate about the work that they're doing, um, we can make a difference. And so I'm very excited to be partnering with Well Coaches now and in the future to just expand what's going on in that world and help nurses become fully aware of those opportunities.
Well, thank you. And we are so excited that we've partnered with you as well. And just to, expand the horizons that we offer along with you so that more
Mm.
nurses are aware of some of these opportunities.
I love that. I love that. And so, as we finish up today, I know we have a webinar plan that's coming up.
Yes.
And so, I want to just share with everybody in the group be on the lookout. I will be having some news of the webinar that's coming up the final week of February when Well Coaches is going to present for us just an overview of what their coaching program is all about, what the business of coaching is all about, and all of those things. So, be on the lookout for that. And then lastly, Beth, I really want to invite you to share some information with our audience now about how they can connect with you. What's the next step to learn more about Well Coaches? And what can they do to learn more?
Absolutely. Well, first thing anybody can do is email me at btanseypeller@wellcoaches.com. You can also schedule a 15-minute Zoom meeting with me to get your questions answered because I love taking people for a tour of the website. It's showing all of our resources, explaining how it all works, answering your questions. So I think of it as informed consent. It's just a way for you to get the information you need to make the decision that's right for you. I'm not selling, I'm informing. And we have speaking of that, we have a free information session every month. We just had one yesterday. We have another one coming up on February 15th, where you can meet Margaret Moore, our CEO, and listen to the history of Well Coaches and more about it. So that's an option. And then I just want to let you know, we have a well-being inventory that we are in the final process of validating. And I'd like you all to send me an email if you're interested in taking this. It assesses work, life, mind, and body. And
Ooh.
by taking this, you will be placed into a raffle to potentially win one of 3 Apple smartwatches. So
Ooh.
you get an assessment, you get a free assessment of your well-being and that potential win. So that's another thing. And
Awesome.
yeah, and you also may want to take a look at our Become a Member page because that is where every month we have a free class that non-members can attend to get a sense of what you can, it's not really our core training, but it's one of the options for an ongoing learning experience. And you get a sense of what Well Coaches is about. This month is actually the town hall run by our membership coordinator, and it's discerning your coaching identity. Now, this one is in January, and it may be already have occurred by the time this podcast appears, but we have something like that every month that people can tap into and see if it speaks to them.
Wow, some amazing resources. And, Beth, in saying all of that, you just kind of validated again for me how aligned we are, Nurses Feed Their Young and Well Coaches, because we believe in lifelong learning, we believe in innovation, we believe in developing nurses cultivating nursing leaders as well as developing nurse entrepreneurs. And so I think this is just a wonderful match, and I'm
Mhm.
excited to connect with you again next month for the webinar. And I will be sure for everybody that's watching, know that the links to connect with Beth, her email address, the webinar link, will all be posted in the comments below. So whatever resources you're looking for, please be sure to click on those, and that way you can grab the information that you need.
Okay, well, I look forward to hearing from anybody who wants to reach out to me.
I love that. I love that. And so, for everybody that's watching today, I want to thank you for being here for this episode of Dare to Do Nursing Differently with our guest, Beth Tansey Peller of WellCoaches. I am super excited to share this information with all of you and connect with Beth in the event that you are interested in learning any more. And we will chat with y'all soon. Bye for now.